Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. Alice opened the door and found that it led into a small passage, not much larger than a red hole. She knelt down and looked along the passage into the loveliest garden you ever saw. How she longed to get out of the dark hole and wander about among those beds of bright flowers and those cool fountains. But she could not even get her head through the doorway. And even if my head would go through, thought poor Alice, it would be of very little use without any shoulders. Oh, how I wish I could sort of like a telescope. I think I could, if I only knew how to begin. For, you see, so many out-of-the-way things had happened lately that Alice had begun to think that very few things indeed were really impossible. There seemed to be no use in waiting by the little door, so she went back to the table, half hoping she might find another key on it, or at any rate, a book of rules for shooting people of like a telescope. This time she found a little bottle on it, which currently was not here before, said Alice, and round the neck of the bottle was a paper label with the word "Drink me" beautifully printed on it in large letters. It was all very well to say, "Drink me," but the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry. No, I'll look first, she said, and see whether it makes poison or not. For she had read several nice little stories about children who had got burned and eaten up by wild beasts and other pleasant things, all because they would not remember the simple rules their friends had taught them, such as the red-hot poker will burn you if you hold it too long, and if you cut your finger very deeply with a knife, it usually bleeds. And she had never forgotten that if you drink much from a bottle marked poison, it's almost certain to disagree with you sooner or later. However, the bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice, it had, in fact, a sort of mixed flavor of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. She very soon finished off. What a curious feeling, said Alice. I must be setting up like a telescope. And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size for going through the little door that into a lovely garden. First, however, she waited for a few minutes to see if she was going to shrink any further. She felt a little nervous about this, for it might end, you know, said Alice to herself, in my going out altogether, like a candle. I wonder that I should be like then. And she tried to fancy what the flame of a candle is like after the candle is blown out, for she could not remember ever having seen such a thing. After a while, finding that nothing more happened, she decided going into a garden at once. But alas, for poor Alice. When she got to the door, she found she had forgotten the little golden key, and when she went back to the table for it, she found she could not possibly reach it. She could see it quite plainly through the glass, and she tried her best to climb up one of the legs of the table, but it was too slippery. And when she had tried herself out with trying, the poor little thing sat down and cried. Come, there's no use in crying like that, said Alice to herself, rather sharply. I advise you to leave off this minute. She generally gave herself very good advice, though she was seldom followed, and sometimes she scolded herself so severely as to bring tears into her eyes, and once she remembered trying to box her own ears for having cheated herself. In a game of croquet, she was playing against herself, for this curious child was very fond of pretending to be two people. But it's no use now, thought poor Alice, to pretend to be two people. Why, there's a sharply enough to me left to make one respectable person. Soon her eye fell on a little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found in it a very small cake, on which the word "Eat me" were beautifully marked in currant. Well, I'll eat it, said Alice, and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key, and if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door. So either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care which happens. She ate a little bit and said anxiously to herself, which way, holding her hands on the top of her head to feel which way it was growing, and she was quite surprised to find that she remained the same size. To be sure, this generally happened when one eats cake, but Alice had got so much into the way of expecting nothing but out of the way things to happen that it seemed quite dull and stupid for life to go on its common way. So she set to work and very soon finished off the cake. Chapter 2. The Pool of Tears. Curiouser and curiouser, cried Alice. She was so much surprised that for the moment she quite forgot how to speak good English. Now I am opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. Goodbye, Pete. For when she looked down at her feet, they seemed to be almost out of sight. They were getting so far up. Oh, my poor little Pete, I wonder who will put on your shoes and stocking for you now, dears. I'm sure I shan't be able. I shall be great deal too far off to trouble myself about you. You must manage the best way you can, but I must be kind to them, said Alice. Or perhaps they want to walk the way I want to go. Let me see, I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas. And she went on planning to herself now how she would manage it. They must go by the carrier, she thought, and how funny till seem standing present to one's own feet, and how odd the directions will look. Alice's right foot, Esquire, hearty hearthrugs near the fender with Alice's rubber. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking. Just then her head struck against the roof of the hall. The face, she was now more than 9 feet high, and she at once took up the little golden key and hurried up to the garden door. Poor Alice, it was as much as she could do, lying down on one side to look through into the garden each one way, but to get through was more hopeless than ever. She sat down and began to cry again. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, said Alice. A great girl like you, she might well say this, to go on crying in this way. Stop this moment, I tell you. But she went on all the time, shedding gallons of tears, until there was a large pool around her, about 4 inches deep and reaching half down the wall. After a time, she heard a little pattering of feet in the distance, and she heartily hastily dried her eyes to see what was coming. It was the white rabbit returning, splendidly dressed, each a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large pen on the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry, muttering to himself as he came, "Oh, the Duchess, oh, one savage if I kept her waiting." Alice felt so desperate that she was ready to ask help of anyone. So, when the rabbit came near her, she began in a low, timid voice, "If you please, sir." The rabbit started violently, dropped the white kid gloves and the pen. She scurried away into the darkness as hard as she could go. Alice took up the pen and glove, and as the hole was very hard, she kept fanning herself all the time. She went on talking. "Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday's things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changing in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But if I'm not same, the next question is, who in the world am I?"